Alright guys, so lately I've been having some issues with my brakes. I've been noticing that they're feeling a little sticky lately, like the brakes are being engaged when I'm not hitting the brake pedals. I've been doing a lot of like downhill driving and stuff, and noticing that when I go downhill, the vehicle really decelerates fast going downhill without hitting the brakes. So usually you just kind of coast down the hill. You kind of gain some speed, or depending on how steep the hill is, you'll gain some speed, but you usually don't decelerate that fast going downhill. And I've noticed that it's been decelerating pretty quickly as going downhill. So I ended up taking the tire off and looking to see if there was an issue. It didn't look like the brakes weren't ever hot after going downhill or anything, so it wasn't like the brakes were sticking real bad. There was no smoke, and there was no like smell of anything like the brakes were getting too hot or anything. And also, if you look at your brake rotors, there might usually be like a black line in there of the brakes sticking there. So it's not like the brakes were really like seized up. So if they're seized, that means the tire doesn't move at all. So that means the vehicle wouldn't be able to move. So it's just like they're stuck just a little bit. So what I ended up finding, I took the caliper off. The caliper was actually pretty difficult to get off. I took the bottom bolt off of the caliper, and usually you can flip it up to take the brake pads off, and it wouldn't come off. So I ended up taking both bolts off, still wouldn't come off. So I had to take a flathead screwdriver and stick it in between the piston there, and actually depress that piston a little bit in order to get enough clearance to take the caliper off. So something wasn't engaging there. It was like the caliper was closing but not opening back up. So what I ended up doing was just lubricating the brakes a little bit more. So I went to AutoZone and stuff and bought those little things of brake lube, and ended up lubing up the brake pads a little more, just the tops and the bottom, so they can slide in and out more. And then also the pins, the caliper pin slides, the slider pins that are on the back of the caliper there, I made sure to lube those up again, and that seemed to actually get rid of all of my issues. I've been driving it a little while now, and I haven't had any of those issues again. So if you have an issue, it's not exactly a seized brake rotor or pad. It was just stuck a little bit. It just seemed like it wasn't lubricated enough. So just make sure that you have the correct lubrication in the correct spots, and that seemed to allow it to open it back up and slide back and forth freely.